welcome to Cata Vlog 11, November 2024. It's been a difficult month. I would say it's my 12th favourite month. It's often a difficult month, but this year it's been, really tough. And there's many reasons for that. I've had a lot of back pain. I've talked quite a bit about my ailments, but I don't really want to dwell on that. But it is making some things difficult. It's always the lack of light at this time of year and very wet days and anticyclonic gloom during the first week or two of the month. Today we've had some sunshine and that's been really good. I've really enjoyed that. Love it when the sun's shining, even if it is 0 Celsius, and that's cold in the UK, certainly cold in London. I haven't seen any snow, but there has been many reports of falling snow from other parts of the country. And of course we may get some of that. And whilst it makes it more slippery and difficult to get about outside, snow also can help insulate our flats, our homes. It can feel a bit warmer sometimes. A layer of snow on top of the roof. However, not everyone's got a home. That's very difficult. Anyone, especially not just people who are roofless, people living in tents, people living in cardboard boxes. We need to think about why our society doesn't provide enough to look after. It doesn't provide enough of a safety net for everyone. There are countries, Finland does a much better job of providing accommodation for people who would otherwise fall through the safety net. Here, there are homeless shelters and there's protocols that come into action in places like London when the temperature drops as cold as it has now. But the whole of November is a pretty rough month to imagine spending any time on the streets. There's even more gloom-laden news this November with the US election results. My heart goes out to everyone who is shocked by the results. Someone sent me a gleeful message, an old friend of mine, unbelievably alienating. I'm not in the USA, I'm in the UK, and we have the privilege of not being in as difficult circumstances as the USA. There are a lot of criticisms about the Labour Party and how the first few months of the Labour government have gone. And I'm not going to post-comment, especially this early, because the first 100 days or the first 150 days is not enough. But there are people who are fearful about putting on their central heating, putting on any heating, deciding between heating and eating and not being able to wrap up warm enough if their money is so scarce. It's extremely difficult. Now, in the USA, the Republicans have won. We all know who's going to be president number 47, and it's been very unwelcome news. Even a few thousand miles to the east, on this side of the Atlantic, it's quite frightening news. I've talked to some of my American friends and they seem very fearful. And I've heard people talk about fleeing not just from red states, but perhaps fleeing the country altogether. That's a huge amount of upheaval, and best wishes to anyone who is doing that. And there's a huge number of problems across the world at the moment. The plight of the Ukraine, the situation in Gaza, in Lebanon, in places like the West Bank, in both anti-Muslim sentiment and anti-Semitism. The rise in hatred, in whichever form, is dreadful. I'm aware of a lot of anti-LGBTQIA plus sentiment. There's been a rise in a lot of hate crimes against just about everyone who's marginalised. A lot of my focus is on LGBTQIA plus, and last month I mentioned the queer calendar, placing all of the dates of events that I'm aware of that fall under the LGBTQIA spectrum, all the different strands. We've just had Trans Awareness Week, and I posted my experiences on Threads. And then there's today, which is Trans Day of Remembrance, the day for remembering all the trans and non-binary and gender fluid people who have been murdered. There's been about 350 recorded cases across the world, but that's only the recorded cases, and it doesn't include people who were not reported, who were misgendered, people who never had any coverage. There's recently been Intersex Day of Remembrance. That was the 8th of November. Today is the 20th of November. I attended a TDOR memorial event earlier today, hearing all of the names of people from countries around the world, many of them Latin American, in the Caribbean. I think it was about 30 in the USA, and that's really worrying. There are many trans and non-binary and gender fluid people who have taken their own lives out of despair. People have been bullied, people who've lost hope. If you've lost a loved one, I want to send you my love and support, and you are in my thoughts. If you're struggling, I'll put up a screen where you may be able to get help. Please look after yourself. Your life is valid and worthwhile. Please don't lose hope, because things can get better. I know from my own experience, I had my bleakest days from 1987 through to 1992, and it was the first half of that. That was when I had my toughest days. When I came out, when I was really struggling, there were help groups, but there wasn't an internet to get information, and it was much harder to find support groups and to build up a sense of community. I hope you are able to find some community, ideally online and in person, but please take care of yourself. I've mentioned Threads quite often. I wanted to give a shout out to the Rainbow Stores and Love Susie Fox, who is inspirational. Susie writes many blog posts about the days. I will endeavour to put some links in. Please do check out the Rainbow Stores, because they do some wonderful merchandise and really interesting blogs, and they celebrate the birthdays, queer birthdays of notable people throughout the year. Definitely worth checking out. And I've mentioned before, Safi76 on Threads. She does great Queer Woman of the Day posts on the day that a notable queer woman has been born or who has died. Those are really absolutely fascinating and educational. Not all of them are people to be celebrated. Some of them are terrible human beings because of their own displays of bigotry. But it's really worth learning about all of them, both the heroes and the zeros, the queer women who have blotted their own copybook. But there's some absolutely brilliant entries to check out almost every single day of the year. And there have been a few days with breaks, but not many. So that's all I'm going to put on today's Cata vlog. I'm hoping that's a relatively upbeat note to finish on, because November is about 11 away from my favourite month. So I'm just getting through it day by day. I had a rebirthday on Sunday the 17th. That was great. I love the comments I got for that, explaining a bit about my own experiences. So I've had some ups as well as downs. I hope you get some ups and you can celebrate them. Thanks for watching. Please like if you like this. Please subscribe if you want, and I hope to see you again soon. Lots of love to you all. Bye for now.